One of the things that happens with stories, ancient stories, is they have a tendency to get frozen in time. We hear them so often. We sing the songs so frequently. We tell the story so often that the truth is, we no longer hear the story. It's an ancient story, and there are so many things that we forget about this story. Like, God comes busting through with angels and so on and so forth, but nobody ever talks about the fact that the mother of this babe was an unwed teenage mother. One of the common folk, if you will. She didn't have a husband and she was pregnant. We don't like to think about that. And sometimes, Carol, we don't like to think about in this day and age that the message of that child was so profound. Actually, it wasn't the message of the child. It's what the people saw in the child that shook us to the core. And oh, how so quickly we forget. So, I wonder where, if this child were to come back today, where would he come? And maybe it wouldn't be a him. It might be a her. Because when we look at these children that come into the world, we say, what a miracle. Now, what would happen? Just imagine what would happen, Carol, if when we held these things we call our children, we saw God looking back at us and we said, we are going to treat this child like God for the rest of its precious life. It's not that this child needs to be worshipped or held on high. This child just needs to be loved. And oh my gosh, imagine what would be possible if the child grew up knowing that he or she were the expression of God in the world. I mean, if it could happen 2,500 years ago, why couldn't it happen that this child would come into a different kind of family? How do we know that this child wouldn't be born into the arms of a single mother who didn't have a father to raise the child? Flies in the face of what religion says is supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen so right and so good. What would happen, Carol, if this child was born into the arms of a single dad who consistently saw the miracle of God's presence? Here's one that'll rock our world. What would happen if this child were born into the arms of a gay or lesbian couple? Who knows? Imagine what's possible if we're willing to throw out the reality that we believed in, just like they did 2,500 years ago. What would happen? if tomorrow morning when we all woke up, we woke up in whatever family matrix we have and we said, I see you. I see you, Carol Fisher, as the expression of God in the world. I see you, Richard, as the expression of God in the world. And you took that to all your students and your wife and your family, and you returned. What would happen if the group of people in this room on this night made the commitment to be the expression of love and compassion? You see, this ancient story doesn't have to be frozen in the past. This ancient story is just waiting to burst forth ever so sweetly right here and right now.